the house. I said, yeah, there's a cat in the house.
Welcome, humans. I am Supercomputer. You are listening to Cats in the House. R-P-O-O-N.
Welcome. My name is Eric Davis, and I will be your guide through this earth-shattering episode of Cats in the House. And Alex and Noah will be joining me in just a second, but first, Supercomputer, how the heck are you doing?
I am doing just fine, human host Eric Davis.
You know, I'm glad to hear it because we had the MUKU game and the Super Bowl last weekend. And with that in mind, what's the top story?
Tom Brady's supermodel wife Giselle complaining about his receivers.
Okay, I really don't see the big deal about that. Giselle was just saying what everyone else who watched the game was saying. I mean, Tom Brady's number one receiver, Wes Welker, Mr. Reliable, couldn't make a catch that he normally makes just look absolutely routine.
Actually, Giselle is Tom Brady's number one receiver, if you know what I mean.
Oh, Supercomputer, what won't you say?
I'm just keeping real, human host Eric Davis.
Well, I cannot disagree with that. You do that very well. And while the Patriots receivers did let down Tom Brady, the Super Bowl MVP, Eli Manning, was just clearly the better quarterback last Sunday. Eli, in fact, he was the star of this entire postseason. And his brother Peyton, he's going to be the star of the offseason. And I am now here with my homeboys, Alex McKee and Noah McKee. And Alex, what jersey will Peyton Manning be wearing in his next Papa John's commercial?
Peyton, is that you? Hey, man, it's gotta work, okay?
Well, there's a lot of options for him out there, and if he wants to win a Super Bowl, I think he's got to go to a place that has a solid defense. One of the better options in the AFC would be the Kansas City Chiefs, because they just proved that they have the talent on defense to go up and beat a Super Bowl caliber team when they beat the Packers. They've always been a quarterback away.
Well, Noah, do you think Manning would want to play in a cold weather city like Kansas City when he has pretty much the option to play anywhere he wants to because he only wants an incentive-based contract, so salary cap not going to be an issue with him, apparently.
Exactly. He's played in a dome his whole career, and especially now that he has that neck problem, the warm weather will be good for it, not just during games, but for off-season and living in it. And I think that's why at Arizona, he could play in his climate-controlled stadium, and he gets to throw the ball to Larry Fitzgerald, who, if you noticed, was in Indianapolis this week. And you don't think he ran into Peyton maybe once during Super Bowl week?
Had a little chat with him. Seems like not too long ago he was loving up with Kevin Cobb, trying to get him to come to Arizona. Like, oh, Arizona's great. But yeah, Peyton Manning, I mean, he has to be will be the most coveted free agent of all time in NFL history since the free agents era started in '93.
It'll be similar to when LeBron was a free agent, except for LeBron had most of his career in front of him still and hadn't really entered his prime, even, you could say. Yeah, and Peyton is done with it. He's 36, but still the coverage on it will be kind of like that.
I mean, do you guys think that Peyton's going to be able to play like he used to? I mean, not only neck damage, but apparently there's nerve damage in his elbow. This isn't a safe bet. This guy might not be the same quarterback. Obviously, Carson Palmer had some nerve damage, and you could see he doesn't have the zip he used to have at USC or when he started with the Bengals.
I don't think he'll have the same arm strength because that kind of declines naturally with old age, but he'll still have the mental ability. He'll still have the pre-snap reads where he can dominate any defense, and he has the accuracy. So I think whoever gets him will get 2 solid years out of him.
I would hope so, and just that guy is so competitive. And now with Eli winning another Super Bowl, Peyton Manning is licking his lips, ready to get another try. And another thing is, I don't think we're going to see him in the NFC. Or in the NFC East, maybe in the NFC. But I don't think he's going to want to go in the same division as Eli will. I don't think he wants to play on the Cowboys or the Washington Redskins and play Eli Manning twice a year and step on his brother's funk at all.
It's not that type of sibling rivalry. They're too respectful of one another to. He doesn't want to step on his toes, especially while Eli's, gaining notoriety and maybe even surpassing Peyton's fame at some point.
Not only that, but the most likely of all those teams would be the Redskins, obviously. And from a talent standpoint, they're lacking what other teams have to offer. And it's pretty far north for Peyton to be playing outdoors.
If I'm Peyton Manning right now, there's two teams I'm looking at. And number one would be the Miami Dolphins. He's got a beach house down there, just a great weather. Guess not the greatest stadium. It's not a dome. It's pretty wet there. They've got some good talent on defense, good talent on offense. A new head coach, Joe Philbin, coming in there, putting in a pretty pass-happy offense. And then I'd say the San Francisco 49ers would be probably my number one choice if I'm Peyton Manning. With that defense, I don't know if they're going to be interested in him. I don't see why they wouldn't be. But with that defense and Frank Gore in your running game and that great offensive line where there's 3 first-round picks on that offensive line.
Clearly, before last season, the Niners were not thinking Alex Smith was in their future. Mm-hmm. And after this year, going 13-3, reaching an NFC championship, it's almost hard to give him the boot, even though he is a free agent and his contract is up.
Well, you just got to have seen, though, what Alex Smith was doing in the NFC Championship game. He was ineffective against New York. He went back down to earth from that wonderful Saints game. And then he comes up against New York Giants, a great defense, and he looked pathetic.
It's like he completed one pass to a wide receiver, and I'm sure some of that says something about your wide receivers, but you don't think for 1 second if Jim Harbaugh has a chance to make that much of an improvement at the quarterback position, I think he'll do it.
They're the immediate Super Bowl favorites. I believe so. With Kansas City, with the talent they have on offense and defense, you put Peyton Manning on that squad, that's a Super Bowl favorite. You put him on the 49ers, Super Bowl favorite. You'll sell more season tickets than you could ever dream, or jerseys, or what have you.
I do think that's a great scenario. He would fit excellent with that division, with the Niners already being the reigning champions. He doesn't have much competition in his division. But like you said, I don't see him going to the NFC for a couple of reasons. Number one, because Eli's in the NFC, and I don't think he'd go to the NFC because he's not used to all those teams as he's playing the AFC his whole career.
And also, not only is Eli in the NFC, Aaron Rodgers is in the NFC. Drew Brees in the NFC.
That's what I'm kind of saying is the other reason he wouldn't go to the NFC is just because the competition has kind of spiked over the last couple of years. And I think his best chance to get back to even winning a playoff game would be in the AFC.
In the AFC West or probably the NFC West. Mm-hmm. Those are the weakest divisions by far, it seems.
And if you see one of the teams that goes after Peyton and strikes out, do you think they make the panic move and throw a lot of money at Matt Flynn?
Oh, I absolutely think they would. Why wouldn't you? What he did against Detroit at the end of last season, that wasn't like Kevin Kolb. That wasn't like Matt Castle, even though he did it over a whole season. That was an unbelievable performance. Not just anybody can do it. You can't talk about the Packers receivers because they're great. But putting up that game against a playoff team like Detroit.
In the snow in Lambeau, too.
In a cold game. He made some throws there that I'm not sure very many people on this planet can make.
And Detroit's defense was atrocious. They gave up over 600 yards, an NFL playoff record to the Saints a week later. But still, 480 yards, 6 touchdowns in the NFL. That's impressive.
And even though the Packers' wide receiving core is top-notch in the NFL, and a lot of this might be because they threw the ball so much, but they were second in the NFL in drop passes to only the Carolina Panthers. So the fact that Matt Flynn threw for 500 yards and 6 touchdowns, that's
He's putting
pretty
the ball
incredible.
on the money for sure.
And I don't think Greg Jennings didn't play that game.
He didn't. So I see Matt Flynn. Miami makes sense with Joe Philbin. And I also see with Reggie McKenzie in Oakland, their new general manager, that would make sense too to come in and compete with Carson Palmer. Because there's really not very many places you can go and not have a quarterback competition. If you're Matt Flynn, you're still pretty unproven. Noah, where do you see Matt Flynn going?
Well, I think you hit it on the head there with Miami because you have the Philbin connection. And
if they don't get Manning, obviously.
Oh, of course. And you even heard, I think it was a week ago or so, Brandon Marshall was out there campaigning for Matt Flynn. And, he says a lot of stupid things, but he wants Matt Flynn.
Yeah, he probably wants Manning too.
Well, I think Miami is a favorable position for either of those quarterbacks, but I do see Seattle reaching for one of these two guys. And if Seattle, obviously they don't have the most attractive situation for Manning, so I think Seattle could make a push for Matt Flynn.
Now in Seattle, they had Tavares Jackson, who really came on strong, and they were calling him, was it Captain Clutch over there? When we get back, Noah's going to start talking about someone who was not Captain Clutch. Memphis quality meltdown when we get back.
London calling to the faraway towns. Take a cold shower, shave your legs, call your father, tell him you love him, and don't forget, you're listening to Cats in the House on POON. Calcium and protein, past the kitty feast, infused with manganese. Kitty feast, please.
At Kitty Feast, we know what you and your cat want. You want your cat to be healthy, and your cat wants to eat anything you decide to feed it. So next time, go with Kitty Feast.
Hey guys, tired of the 4 o'clock drowsies? How about the 6 o'clock grumpy wumpies? And after tucking the kids in, having trouble pleasuring the wifey and the bedly wedly? Well, you probably haven't heard of Man Sauce. This is the only 24-hour energy drink just for men. This patented formula, pending FDA approval, combines electrolytes, Viagra, Rogaine, single malt whiskey, and pirate fluid for a high so awesome you'd think you're in Bangkok. Just deposit our beef-flavored formula deep into your gallows for 24 hours of maximum energy. Man Sauce promotes crazy hair growth, amazing results in bed, perfect prostate health, and night vision.
Side effects may include bulging neck veins, rectal weeping, domestic abuse, and in some rare cases, AIDS.
What are you waiting for? Order your life with a side of Man Sauce.
Available at gypsy flea markets and fireworks stands everywhere.
And welcome back to Cats in the House, the only sports show that's consequential.
Hey, we are back to Cats in the House, and I am here with Noah and Alex. And now, I don't know if you know this or not, but Noah's a pretty quiet guy most of the time. But sometimes Noah just has this, like, serious sports rage. And Noah, I want to know, and the whole world wants to know, is who's in your craw this week?
Well, this week, and it comes with love, though, it's Elijah Johnson. Because obviously at the end of that painful loss to Mizzou on Saturday, down 3 with 5 seconds left, we had a play drawn up where he was wide open for 3 at the top of the key, and he passed on the shot. He looked to pass the ball, and then he waited till there was about a second left and threw up a ball like a football, and I don't even know if he got it off. It's the biggest game of the year to date. You're wearing Mario Chalmers 15. The play that we ran against Memphis, and you don't shoot the ball is unbelievable.
Yeah, my thing with that is, after that, I am so ashamed of that effort and just how cowardly that was. First off, I can't imagine. I hope his homeboys in Las Vegas weren't watching that because they were either sick or they were laughing or something. He just doesn't want to go back to that. And can he wear the number 15 after that? He can't wear number 15. That's a special number to us.
And he's not alone. Tyshawn Taylor, even though he played great and has been our best player over the last month, missed 2 free throws when we were down 1, just painfully remindful of Christian Moody in that building. And
T-Rob just, he went, I guess, what would you say, full retard in the last 2 minutes there.
Simple Jack.
Terrible, terrible decision-making, just a total meltdown.
And I thought the 2 charge calls in the last 2 minutes were just terrible. And you even see on one of them, the ref's hopping around, takes like 6 steps, waving his arms, gyrating, just anticipating the crowd to freak out to his call. I thought the ref kind of got caught up in the moment a little.
Well, the thing about that is just, though, you can't get too mad about those calls because KU just did so many stupid things. Those calls shouldn't have mattered. We should not be talking about those calls. Mm-hmm. KU blew it. The refs weren't great, but it doesn't even matter.
That's kind of where I'm coming from. When it comes to the last 2.5 minutes, there were so many things that went wrong. And that's why even though, Eli Johnson passed on the shot like it was gravy at Thanksgiving, he just completely
the last bit of gravy, didn't want to take it, wanted to give it to someone else. Like, I don't want this.
Now Belton. Make sure everybody gets a piece.
There's a lot of things that went wrong.
Eli, that was your gravy. That was your moment in KU history.
Yeah.
And if it would have gone off the rim, heck, if he would have just airballed it, I wouldn't be talking about this.
Exactly. We wouldn't be talking about it right now. But as he came around the top of the key and he looked to his right and looked to pass the ball.
So now Elijah Johnson misses the tying shot. KU totally melts down. And Missouri, they've got their big boy pants on right now. They are in control of the Big 12, and it is a tight race going down the home stretch. We got KU at 8-2, Missouri at 9-2, Baylor at 8-2, and Iowa State just behind at 7-3. And what it looks like K-State and Texas are pretty much out of this. It looks like a four-horse race right now.
Iowa State is kind of like the dark horse right now. They're 7-3 in conference, but their next couple games, they're going to have some chances to really make a dent and cover up some ground. If they can win at Baylor here in a few weeks, and then again they have to play Missouri, those two wins right there, they'll put them back at near the top of the conference.
For me, Baylor is in a position to make a move in this race because they have Kansas at home on Wednesday and then at Missouri on Saturday. And if they were to somehow come out of there 2-0, then they're sitting pretty in first place and they're driving the bus. But of course, if they go 0-2, then you're looking at Kansas, Missouri, coming home playing for the split.
I think what everyone's hoping for here, just storyline-wise, is for KU and Missouri to go into Allen Fieldhouse with the Big 12 on the line. Baylor's just got a brutal schedule coming up. They got KU and MU back-to-back, then Iowa State, then K-State, then Texas. Yeah. That's all the best teams in the Big 12, and KU doesn't have an easy stretch. No one has an easy stretch. But I cannot see Baylor hanging in on this. I just don't think Iowa State is consistent enough. To me right now, as sad as it makes me to say this, Missouri looks like it's their year. Right before they're about to, jet off to the SEC, this is their best chance to take a Big 12 title with them.
And Frank Haith, who's doing a great job, is doing this with all Mike Anderson's players. So it's kind of interesting the way that sometimes new coaches come in and take over an older regime and find magic. The same way Bruce Weber did with Bill Self's old players.
Absolutely, or Gruden going to Dungy's Tampa Bay team, and then Callahan taking Gruden's team in Oakland and then meeting in the Super Bowl.
Roy Williams taking the team he picked up in North Carolina and winning the championship.
But yeah, that tends to happen a lot, but you can't take too much away from what Haith has done with these players. He's gotten more out of these players than Mike Anderson did.
It's about the scheme. Anderson had him pressing the whole game and, play this helter-skelter type of game, and Haith is actually, installing some sets, gone away from the zone defense and the constant pressure, and, it just goes to show what a little coaching can do.
I mean, it's a real tragedy that this rivalry will end, because I think this is one of the best rivalries in all of sports, anywhere in the world.
I think even though the teams will play again, whether it be in 2 years or 5 years or 10, I don't think it'll ever be as great of a rivalry as it has been over the last century, because when two teams aren't competing for conference relevance, as we just saw and as we will see the rest of the year, I don't think it's really a rivalry. It's more of just bragging rights, kind of like Missouri and Illinois have.
Exactly. I've never really got too big into the non-conference rivalry, For me, a rivalry has to be something at stake other than, just bragging rights. You have to be a division title, on the line. If we go to play Missouri in, mid-November in the Sprint Center, yeah, it'll be fun for that night, but it really won't mean anything.
Yeah, because what we're seeing here is just Missouri's on the uprise here, and KU's kind of having a little bit of a down year by their standards. This is looking like this rivalry was just going to get better.
Exactly.
This year it's been absolutely fantastic. And absolutely looking forward to the rematch in Allen Fieldhouse and probably another rematch after that in the tournament, because, in my opinion, these look like the best two teams in the Big 12, even though Baylor and Iowa State are just having fantastic season. So, looking at these games, though, coming up, there's a lot of good ones, especially in the Big 12. Noah, what are you most looking forward to?
I'm going on Wednesday night, Kansas at Baylor, in a rematch of a game a couple weeks ago where Baylor was playing well in stretches, but really got worked in the second half, and I think they'll be out looking for revenge. Their crowd will be fired up, and it'll be a tough environment to play in.
Alex, do you got something else, or is it another Big 12 game?
It's another Big 12 game. Baylor has to go to Columbia on Saturday. That's going to rack up another conference loss for someone who's having a great chance at the division or the conference this year. And really, it's a great chance to look at our competition again to see which of these teams really has what it takes to win the Big 12.
Yeah, with the football season coming to a close, I mean, this Big 12 basketball is really picking me up, because obviously I'm a big football lover, but just going down the stretch in this Big 12 conference title battle and then going into March Madness, it just couldn't be any better. But what I'm also really looking forward to is the NFL offseason. And I believe this week, Peyton Manning will be meeting with Jim Irsay, and I really think that he's going to be released very soon, maybe this week, and I'm really looking forward to seeing that. We are officially going to start Manning Watch.
A quarterback of his caliber hitting the market, it hasn't happened for a long time. I mean, Drew Brees hit the market, but nobody really knew what he had. And even though he's 36, if he can still get out there and do anything of what he used to be able to do, then he could still get back to a Super Bowl.
I'd say get ready to hear Peyton Manning's name about 1 million times for the next month.
You are going to hate his face. You're going to hate his stupid neck and the nerves in his stupid elbow. Because he's going to be all over ESPN. So that is our show this week. We have a lot to look forward to coming up for our next show. But I want everyone to remember just one thing. And that's we do not need cats.
I want dogs.
Meow.
Any transmission in 3, 2, 1.
Once every generation, there is someone who comes along and inspires change. One man, one state, one physical masterpiece. You.
I, Ruby Tates, will personally sculpt your body into the chiseled, throbbing, hard masterpiece made in the image of yours truly. 100% satisfaction guaranteed, or your money back.
This summer, Academy Award winner Daniel Day-Lewis gives the performance of a lifetime.
Jesus, I bet you swim with your shirt on.
Samuel L. Jackson plays his black friend.
Damn it, Rube, I'm pushing the hardest I can. You my best friend. You're the only family I got now.
Stop wasting my time.
Rube, you're pushing him too hard.
Fat to Fit in 5. The Ruby Tate story. Hold on to your abs.
Are you tired of the opposite sex finding you repulsive? Well, are you, Porky?
Thanks, Ruby.